Prepare to get gas because it's time for the Week in Gear. This week, be prepared for a lot of guitars from two big brands and a pedal that made me make this face. This week's show is sponsored by 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏. More about them shortly. But before we start, I saw that Green Day are reopening their Reverb shop, and there is a chance to win this guitar, which was a prototype of the Billie Joe Armstrong's signature Gibson. Reverb don't know that I'm mentioning this, they haven't asked me to, I just thought it was cool and you should have the chance to win. I'll put a link to that giveaway in the video description for you. Okay, let's kick off this week's most exciting gear releases with an update on a classic piece of gear. If you've been around guitars for a while, you've probably seen one of these. Well, the iRig USB is Ikmultimedia's updated, affordable and portable way to get guitar sounds in and out of your phones and computers. It plugs in via a USB-C cable, and that allows you to access all the guitar apps and recording apps that you get on your phones and iPads these days. As it's digital, it should offer better quality sound than plugging into the headphone socket of whatever device you're using, like the old style. The iRig USB keeps it simple, but you can still hear yourself via headphones or even plug it into an amp for gigging or recording. And the controls are pretty basic. A big old gain knob and a switch that turns the effects on or off in case you want to output a clean signal. It's coming in at under $70 and includes Mac, PC, and iOS versions of both 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Amplitude software. Now, there are plenty of smartphone-compatible audio interfaces on the market, but the simplicity and the price of the iRig USB plus the bundled software makes this an absolute no-brainer if you want to make guitar sounds on the go. Now, I'm a big fan of the Fender Mustang Micro, but the iRig USB does seem to do better in terms of flexibility. I have one on the way, and I will provide a full review shortly. At number 4 this week, a right little ripper, this is the Riptide from Eventide, and it's got 2 drives and 2 Univibes in one digital box. Now, I've already reviewed this, so if you want to hear it, you can find the video on my channel. Each effect has its own dedicated foot switch, or there's a preset mode that has 5 onboard preset slots and a further 127 presets available via USB MIDI, albeit a mini USB socket, oddly. The Riptide is also stereo, and if you play in stereo, get ready for a swirly, whirly wonder of sounds. It really does sound glorious in that stereo mode. On the pedal, there are controls for drive, tone, level, vibe mix, speed, and intensity, but the real fun thing is being able to switch the order of the drive and the vibe just by pressing one button. And the best thing of all is all that power, all that flexibility, and no menu diving. I first tried this a couple of months ago at Gear Street in Germany through some headphones. And although it was good, it wasn't mind-blowing. I wasn't overwhelmed or underwhelmed. I was simply whelmed. However, when I played it in my studio through my amps, it really shone as something special, and it is head and shoulders above other digital solutions. In fact, let's get the digital part out of the way. If your only reference of digital drive or modulation is a budget pedal, then please put that thought to one side when I tell you that the Riptide is almost $400. Now that is a lot of money, and I totally understand, but this is the kind of pedal that someone could base their entire pedal board around. And if these sounds are integral to your tone and you need something compact, the Riptide fits the bill more than most other pedals. Before we get to number 3 on the list, it's time to talk about this week's sponsor, 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Guitars are great, but if you stand them up, they do tend to fall over a lot. It's almost as if they weren't designed for that. But what are we supposed to do when we need to put our guitars down? Lay our precious instrument on the floor? Or up against a wall? So what's the solution? Enter 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's the stand that sticks to your guitar, allowing you to go about your business when you're not noodling the pentatonic scale or strumming Wonderwall. It's easy to attach, and it folds flat when you don't need it. 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Give your guitar a leg to stand on. Follow the link in the video description for more info and availability. To talk a little bit more about the sponsor this week, I originally said no to 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 because I originally thought the idea was a little bit silly, but after trying one, I changed my mind. 𝗚𝗘𝗘𝗞 is not intended to be used on your high-end guitars, but as a street musician and music educator, I think the 𝗚𝗘𝗘𝗥 is absolutely a great way to always have some way to stand your working guitar upright. And then when you want to take it off, you just do that, and it's almost like it's not there. Well, I can't feel it. So 𝗚𝗘𝗘𝗥 is a serious product, and it does seem ridiculous at first, but I stand behind that. I would use that, or I am using this on my working guitar because it's much more convenient than the alternative. Although I can't get it back on now. Hang on, there we go, there, back on. One hands-free standing guitar. Third on this week's most exciting gear is PRS. PRS have 3 new models in their budget SE series. The SE CE24, the SE Swamp Ash Special, and the SE Custom 24 Quilt. Now, the PRS CE24 was originally introduced in 1988, and this is now available for the first time in an SE version. This is big news for PRS lovers. The SE CE24 is a classic combo of mahogany body with carved maple top plus a maple veneer, and a bolt-on maple neck with a 10-inch radius rosewood fretboard. The neck is a 25-inch scale with 24 frets, plus 2 PRS 8515 humbuckers and a trem. This budget SE will set you back a mere $699. The SE Swamp Ash Special, unsurprisingly, has a carved swamp ash body and a bolt-on maple neck with a 10-inch radius rosewood fretboard. The neck is also 25-inch scale, but with 22 frets, and this also has those same humbuckers, but has an AS01 single coil in between them. And don't forget that tremolo. This one's coming in at $849. And finally, PRS brings us a more luxurious SE model. Maybe this one's aimed at dentists who are currently in training and not yet earning the big bucks. The SE Custom 24 Quilt has a mahogany body with a carved maple top and a quilted maple veneer, a set maple neck with a 10-inch radius ebony fretboard, and the neck is a 25-inch scale with 24 frets again, plus those 2 PRS 8515 humbuckers and a trem. Of course, the higher specs brings a higher price with it, and that price is going to be around $999, so still sub 1,000. Do they come with hard cases? No, they don't. You get a gig bag for these. Now, I've played many PRS guitars over the years, and I've never managed to gel with one. It's almost as if they're too perfect to appeal to my quirky nature, but there is something about that black gold burst quilt top that makes me feel funny downstairs. And it shouldn't, for more than one reason. However, that neck join does not look comfy at all. I don't know if I'll get to try one, but if you do, please let me know your thoughts by leaving a comment on this video. I genuinely want to know what these guitars are like. However, with these new PRS SE models coming out, it means that PRS are having a sale on the old models. So, if you've been gassing for a PRS recently, maybe now is the time. Oh, it wouldn't be a twig if there were not a new Fender product, and this time they've come out with something game-changing again called the Highway Acoustic series. These are acoustic guitars for people who don't like acoustic guitars, or the guitars that might be more palatable for people that can't quite stretch their hardened beliefs to pick up an acoustasonic. There are 2 body shapes available, Dreadnought and Parlor, so a big one and a little one, with both being available with either a Sitka spruce top or a mahogany top, giving us 4 guitars in total. All models have a C-shaped bolt-on mahogany neck, so very friendly for electric players, and those necks have a 12-inch radius Indian rosewood fretboard and 20 frets, joining the body at the 14th fret. One of the major specs that Fender are focusing on is the groundbreaking Fishman Fluence acoustic pickup system, or the FFAPS for short. This is a magnetic pickup, and the guitar does not have a piezo at all. As for controls, we have volume and tone, like a telly. Now, these are thin guitars. In fact, they measure only 2 1/4 inches deep. And Fender are claiming that, along with the ergonomic factor and the less weight factor, the Highway series guitars exhibit the unplugged resonance of acoustic guitars twice their size. I cannot wait to test that, and if only I had one to... Oh, what's this? This literally got delivered about 20 minutes ago, and yes, I will have a full review posted soon. It's the Dreadnought version, by the way, in mahogany. But do they come with hard cases? Nope. They do come, however, with a deluxe gig bag. Ooh. I'm a big fan of the Acoustasonic player series, and I use one live, but I never use the electric part, just the acoustic part, so this Highway series could be a more suitable instrument. However, they are not Acoustasonics in disguise. They are something else, something new, but Fender have seemingly learned something from the Acoustasonic range and applied it here to the Highway series. That also translates to the price, as these are made in Mexico and coming in at just under $1,000. Not a cheap instrument by far, but if this fits the bill and solves a problem for working musicians, I think we're more likely to see these at shows than an acoustic sonic. But, of course, wait for my full review. Andy's Pick of the Week. My pick of the week is the 385 Mark II Overdrive from Walrus Audio. Here it is. It's an overdrive, but it's not one of those overdrives, so it's not green in a box or has a horse on it. It's based on the circuit of a Bell & Howell Film Sound 385 projector from the 1950s. Now, I didn't know this until this year, but that film projector has a history of being modified into a guitar amp. So, Walrus Audio released their 385 Mark I back in 2016, negating the need to actually buy a Filmo Sound and mod it, so they stuck it in a pedal. But I didn't play it till January this year when I was on that island with Henning and all the lads. Now the Mark II has 2 presets, top-mounted jacks, and a 385 Plus mode, which delivers even more gain. Like the original, the Mark II has a bass and treble control, but gain and volume for channel A and channel B are independent, so you have basically 2 pedals in one. Naturally, I reviewed this pedal, and what a glowing review that is. The 385 goes from a hairy little crunchy bluesy drive to full-on face-stomping fuzz/distortion, all while retaining dynamics that respond beautifully to the way you play. And in fact, I will go on record as saying that this is the most touch-sensitive pedal I have ever played. It is scary how accurate you need to be. Why am I smiling so much? The 385 Mark II comes in black, like the one I have, or there's one with a yellow decal, and both are the same price, around $250. But if you think of it as 2 pedals in one, then that price seems more reasonable. The good news, as there's now a Mark II, there will be Mark I versions on sale. So if you can't quite stretch to $250, but you fancy trying an overdrive that is very different to everything else, pick up a Mark I and save some cash. A big thanks to those of you who support this show over on Patreon or here on YouTube, and you now have your names on screen. And a special golden thanks to the top tier members. Buddha Blue. This prank is officially sponsored by Jason Welch, Buzzle, Sean Aluka, Sarung Narayan, Josh Tamberg, Gary O'Neill, Stephen S, April Kurtz, Alinta Boston. If you want your name up here in lights, then click the join button right here on YouTube, or there's a Patreon link in the video description with all the other links to go to the individual products that I mentioned this week. So go ahead and click there to subscribe and be kept up to date on all new guitar gear coming out. Don't forget to comment your pick of the week, and remember, new gear is nice, but it's not important what you play, it's why you play. See you in the next one. Bye!